Good day to you. You're welcome to the show once more. Today is going to be an interesting day, program and event. We have a great package for you, which stems from last week's package. By way of introduction, I'm Wale Ogwade, the host of this program, and the program itself is called Voters Forum. And all we do here is to educate you, enlighten you, and keep you abreast of situations and events in the country, the political space generally, and particularly to inform you on your civic and political rights. Today we are looking at the politics of the tax reform. We did it last week, and we want to look at the second leg. And in looking at the second leg, we want to enrich our discussion. We brought someone who equally is involved and is well informed in this regard, who put us through one or two issues and even stir up some comments and controversies in this regard. Meanwhile, on the social media platform, Facebook and all other social media, X, Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth. All you need to do is just to go at Galaxy and you'll get us there. Then again, if you want to be with us real time on time, maybe you are working anywhere and you can't be at home, then of course you can just go to Play Store and get us on Galaxy TV app, and of course you are with us real time online. Before we continue, I'll just let us have a break. Then when we come back, we'll get cracking. Don't go away.
The politics of tax reforms in Nigeria presents an opportunity for significant progress as it encompasses a complex and multidimensional landscape. Currently, the tax system heavily relies on oil revenue, features intricate taxation laws, and includes the substantial informal sector. One of the key challenges we face is the presence of multiple taxes and levies imposed by various levels of government, which complicates compliance for businesses and citizens alike. Our taxation laws have often been regarded as inequitable, disproportionately affecting the poorer segments of society, with only about 13% of adults currently paying income tax. In response to these challenges, many states have enacted the Consolidated Revenue Code (CRC) aimed at simplifying and consolidating tax laws. This initiative introduces new withholding tax regulations designed to enhance tax compliance, showcasing a proactive approach towards improvement. The government has also introduced generous tax reliefs and allowances for individuals and businesses, which reflects a commitment to easing the financial burdens faced by many. Moving forward, comprehensive tax reforms are essential to fostering equity, simplicity and fairness within the tax system. By broadening the taxpayer base and decreasing reliance on oil revenue, we can create a more resilient economic framework. Additionally, consolidating and simplifying tax laws will reduce compliance costs, while strengthening tax administration will minimize evasion and improve revenue collection. Nigeria stands at a pivotal moment, on the brink of transitioning from an outdated tax regime to a more progressive framework that centers around the needs of businesses and citizens. This transition has generated vigorous discussions within the National Economic Council (NEC) and the National Assembly, highlighting the vibrancy of our democratic process. The intensity of these debates reflect a collective commitment among political actors to build a stable and robust economy that can withstand external shocks while ensuring effective governance for all. Understanding the tax proposal through the lens of our nation's socio-economic and political context is crucial. Nigeria, as a 64-year-old federation, has been largely reliant on petroleum-related revenue, which has limited the growth of other sectors. Despite its wealth in oil, Nigeria has faced economic challenges since the military takeover in January 1966, as highlighted by reports from the National Bureau of Statistics. Factors such as the 33.88% inflation, climbing exchange rates, a low economic growth rate, a 63% multidimensional poverty index, and a declining investment inflow reflects the pressing need for reform. Moreover, our tax revenue as a percentage of gross domestic product slipped to 9.4% in 2023, with a concerning debt-to-revenue ratio of 97% at the start of the current administration. However, it is encouraging to note that this ratio has significantly improved to 65% in the last 18 months, indicating positive momentum forward. Together, by embracing these discussions and implementing thoughtful reforms, we have the potential to create a tax system that enhances equity, drives sustainable growth, and ultimately benefits all Nigerians.
These bills aim to simplify the tax landscape, reduce the burden on small business, and streamline how taxes are collected. In broad terms, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the four bills seek to ensure uniformity in tax revenue administration in Nigeria in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution.
Mr. President, the third problem I mentioned is the people, through the governors, and then the NEC and the traditional rulers say that the bill should be withdrawn, make some necessary amendments, and then bring it back, and we can pass it in 24 hours. But that changed, Mr. President. The moment oil was discovered in the creeks of the Niger Delta, 1957-58, Nigeria found free money in the creeks of the Niger Delta, and we left taxation, just as we left agriculture and manufacturing. So that's where we are.
Distinguished colleagues, we have since yesterday exhaustively examined all the aspects of this tax reform bill, and in line with our legislative procedure in making laws, agreed earlier today that these bills be passed for a second reading.
Bill as it is proposed, I am particularly on the issue of reducing the tax burden on Nigerians, removing that on food, medicals, education, pharmaceuticals, and electricity were exempted from VAT. So this bill is noble, it's for people, because it's trying to reduce the tax burden on Nigerians.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to repeal certain acts on taxation and consolidate the legal frameworks relating to taxation and enact the Nigeria Tax Act to provide for taxation of income, transactions, and instruments, and for related matters 2024. Second reading taken.
Yes, you're welcome back. It's great info about the tax regime, and in as much as we want the government to have enough money to take care of us, because that's the essence of government, the welfare and the security of the people is the essence of government. And I'm a pastor, and I know that money plays an essential and important role in life, in religion, in evangelism, even in the care ministry and all the things that are interacted with religion and activities of such. We give and we give and we give. Giving is the whole essence of religion, apart from prayer, because the poor will always be in the land, and you have to take care of the poor. The second institution that takes care of the poor in the system is government. And in as much as in the church, tithing is one of the things through which the church gets money. Taxation is the way through which the government gets money majorly. To that extent, we appreciate and we want the government to hurry in all the money that needs to be raked in so that they will be able to take care of the security and the welfare of the people. That is the mandate given to them by the Constitution, which they swore to protect and to achieve and to ensure that it happens. And it can't happen without money. How will the money come in? Through you and I paying our taxes. And we want to see how this regime, that's the tax regime, will come on fine so that people who ought to pay taxes pay. And those who don't pay, we ensure that they pay and everybody is happy, in as much as the system will accommodate everyone. And that's what we call pay as you earn. And there's, of course, various types of things, system, nomenclature in the tax regime. I will stop my own little lecture at this by way of introduction and now introduce our guest who is going to give us more. I just do this that I did as a teaser so that we have whet the appetite of your appetite by the time our guest comes in. And our guest is no other person than Mr. Dan Kanu. You know, I told you the last time he came here. It's not that Dan Kanu that wanted.
You honestly asked for Abacha.
This one wants democracy to grow. And of course, by virtue of that, the only way that can make democracy grow is when the government has enough money to take care of everybody. Mr. Kanu, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you, Mr. Wale, for inviting me.
By way of definition, Mr. Kanu is a deputy editor of Sun newspapers. He's a news journalist of no mean repute, and we deliberately brought him here today because we know that he has information as a journalist, not just a journalist, an editor for that matter. So as you see him talk, it is genuine, it is authoritative, and it is informed and balanced, and of course impartial analysis today. That's why we brought him to help us look at this issue of tax reform and the policy involved from the perspective of a professional. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've been hearing about all the noise about this tax reform. Can you just put us up to speed on this noise? Is it genuine?
Yeah.
Is it political? Yeah. Is it sentimental? Or I would call it the wolf's cry?
Well, only before I continue, maybe let me correct an impression. I don't know whether maybe you are in the spirit to give me a deputy editor. I know I'm one of the chief correspondents.
Okay.
You'll
get there.
I will.
I'm just coming from the from our prayer session, and of course.
Maybe you saw it in the spirit.
We just finished a big vigil.
So thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, as you have said, you know, tax. What you said, both it is the politics is there, the sentiments are there. You have to bring everything together because, as you rightly know, you know, tax itself is an indispensable tool, you know, for the government. If the government must do its work and do it effectively and efficiently, they need money. So, which means it's an obligation. It's obligatory for citizens to pay taxes. Of course, it's not only that citizens will pay their taxes, it's also, you know, the government has their own duty also, you know, to make sure that the money that they receive, they also use it in one way or the other to affect the citizens' life. Like as you have talked about security, you have talked about the welfare. So it's give and take. So when you look into it, the Nigerian situation, you know, it has been an intrigue. There has been a lot of intricacy in our laws. And I think that what the government is doing now, you know, to bring simplicity to tax collection, under the tax administration, to simplify it. For me, I think is germane, because there's so much multiple taxes that people are paying.
Yes.
Like we started the other day, you find situations where you see the women in the market, the Okada people. You find out that the money they pay, if you go there, it will shock you.
Yes.
In the morning, they pay almost 4,000,
Yes.
3,000.
Yes.
In the evening, those ones will pay. In the afternoon, those ones will come and collect. That's how they are collecting from
In
them.
fact, it's very interesting. Thank you for bringing this. Is it not wickedness? Of course, in law we call it double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Right. In the morning, you see a set of people
Collecting.
In the
Afternoon,
afternoon, you see a set of people collecting.
evening, yeah.
In the evening, as they are rounding up, you see a set of people collecting. And really, the way you brought it out now, we are going to talk with them too, these people. And it's unfortunate, yes, and we use this opportunity. We've been trying to get across to Mr. Tai Oyedele. I have his number, I've made a call, I called him, he didn't pick. I sent messages to him, he didn't answer. I don't know if there's any one of you, maybe even he's reached or he shared this video to him. I'll put it on the Facebook so that you get us to him. We need him to come to this program. He is a public servant and he must answer us. He must answer us. We are not begging him. He must come to talk to us. That's why they are there. They are not our rulers, they are our servants. And of course, by virtue of his appointment, he is a public servant who must come to answer to issues that pertains to taxation. Because
he's
the
the lead
Nigerians
head.
are the ones that are being taxed. And he must come and answer to us. We want to give him the platform and he has refused. Courtesy demands that he send the text back to us or a message back to us that here I'm busy and of course I'll get across to you. Not that he shuts out. And I hope he will have a public relations person who will do that. And be that as it may, now talking about this tax regime thing, because it's very, very hard. We'll go to this informal, because these ones, they bond, they pay more taxes.
They pay more,
No one pays in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. How much do they earn in a day?
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, because I am a solicitor to some of these unions, these agents, these people, and we are working on it too. The market people too. You see them in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. On the road, the road transport workers union and so on equally are involved in such things. And you wonder.
And when nobody gives them tax certificates, that's even where
that's
the problem is.
And it's useless. So they just take it's just as if the money is just going down the drain. Because when the children or government now brings out a policy about tax issues, then they have
a problem.
For your information and to confirm what you just said. I had an issue in court this week, and the judge granted bail to my client, and of course he needed sureties, and of course the sureties must have tax clearance certificate. Those people have to quickly run around. They said they have been paying tax just to this one, but they have no certificate to show. They have now to go to pay formally to the government.
You know, what I've also observed that there is so much loopholes in this tax collection. Because by the time, like the money you are talking about, in the morning they will collect, in the afternoon they will collect, in the evening they collect. I can tell you that 70% of that money does not even go to the government.
Are you saying 70%?
Yeah, because it's not automated. Because it's not automated.
It's in their pocket.
Exactly, it's not automated. So that's why, that's how we continue to have a problem. Because if it is automated, if it's accounted, because this one nobody accounts to it. You see, most of these area boys, they will just be there, drinking their beer, taking their pepper soup with the money, and it doesn't concern them. So I think it's a serious issue, and as government is trying to, bring harmony, bring equity into the system. For me, it's okay, but I think what is also the problem, as I have also noticed, if you find out that both the Senate and the House of Reps, explicitly they have not taken a position on the situation. You find out that they have held back the whole tax system. The North is, they're a little bit worried. They're a bit scary. Even as we speak, even the Southeast senators are also saying that they also need a little time you know, for wider consultation. And I think it's a very, it's a very critical issue. You know, there's always this saying that when a child is bitten by the snake, you know, when that child sees even an earthworm, he will be afraid. I think most of the people, the problem that they're having even in these tax issues on the tax administration is even on the management of the fund. You know, on the management of, because if you look at it, you look at the fund that the government has been getting, you begin to ask yourself, what has the extent have it in?
Purposefully.
You mentioned Taiwo Oyedele now. You know, I listened to Taiwo Oyedele on Arise, where Dr. Ruben Abati, Rufi on Fire, and Ayo. You know, they seriously put him on serious hot seat.
Is that why he now avoided us?
No, I think it's a very big mistake. I just hope that he will come. He will come.
We are not
that he has spoken to a medium does not make it. They may not have asked all the questions that needs to be asked.
No. For his information and for the information of Nigerians, this is the program for the Nigerian voters. It is a forum of voters. It is the Nigerian platform that made this election and democracy work and stand. We sustain democracy because we practice and we promote democratic principles that will sustain democracy. We don't practice politics here. We don't talk about issues that are mundane. And for that reason, we represent the views of the voters. And it is the voters' issues that comes on play. The voters are the taxpayers, and they are the ones that benefit or they suffer from the policy of government. Is that not so?
Of course,
and to that extent, anything that will affect the Nigerian voter is a big concern and is brought on this platform to be discussed. And that's why, again, I repeat, we'll still give
Taiwo Oyedele,
we'll still give him that opportunity maybe next week so that he comes. We give him the option. He may not come to Lagos to our studio here. We can do it Zoom anywhere he is in the world. Saturday is not a working day as it were. So we still extend this public invitation, open invitation to him, that whoever sees him, he has my number. If not, he will check. When he sees his phone, he will my number, let him relate with me so that we now fix it off. And by this time next week, we are done on that.
I think Dele, Mr. Taiwo has a lot of questions to answer.
He has to.
I listened to him, of course, like I said, he spoke eloquently. But one thing is in speaking eloquently, another thing is in implementing what you think that has been written. It's a problem. Because as I said, when you look at what is happening to Nigerians now, a lot of Nigerians are taking hack on where they find themselves now. It's like, because sometimes you put these beautiful write-ups on paper and it will look good, but when it comes to implementation, there is a problem. It's like fuel removal, subsidy removal. His Excellency P2B said he will remove subsidy. Atiku said he will remove subsidy. Jagaban said he will remove subsidy. But the process of removing the subsidy is different. I'm not sure His Excellency P2B would have removed subsidy the way it is removed. You know, without putting certain things on the ground to cushion effect. So what I'm saying in essence is that when you look at the tax issues that Oyedele have written, when you see him talk, you know, with all his oratorical presentation, he's always there. But there are a lot of still green areas that needs, you know, needs to be clear, and also in implementation. You know, in implementation, because sometimes he will put all these things on record, it will look so good, but it is. I think the problem is on implementation. So he still needs to come. You know, like
now that you have asked, sorry to cut you. Now that you have gone there, that's where really is the essence of today's discussion, and that's why we wanted Oyedele to be here or to be with us, so that just as you said, on paper, he is a technocrat. We agree, but now we are talking about theory. Those who put it in place, and I know I've related with the civil servants a bit. They are a wonderful set of people, and of course, implementation is with the civil servants.
Yeah.
They are the one, the ministers and all these technicians and technocrats who brings the idea. Put it down.
Yeah.
How do you relate with the civil servants who ensure its
It's
implementation?
implemented very
Because of one problem in this country. The problem is called bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Bureaucracy.
Retapism.
And
That's retapism. Because there's always a contradiction on the way.
So, because there is what we call conflict of interest
Yeah.
between the policy initiator
Yeah.
and the policy implementer.
Yeah.
So, how do we marry that? That's where we are going.
Yeah.
But maybe you, as somebody who is in the know, can help us out before Oyedele comes.
You know, Mr. Wale, one of my also problem about Nigeria is that we tend to corrupt so many things. You find out the process that will say A will give you B, B you get C. But you find out in the country sometimes we get the issues corrupted. It's like, look at what happened in Ghana. The election that they did. It is still these beavers
Yes.
that we use.
Yes.
And I can tell you that even our own beavers may even be more sophisticated than their own.
It is.
But you can see their own, how they obey the law, how they obey all the technicalities that is needed in the beavers. But our own, at a certain point, they will tell there will be glitches. You know, we always learn to know how to. It's a very big problem.
In this
And
country.
yes, until, because there's always a contradiction within the system. Until we learn to, I don't know whether it's human error. We have a lot of people that are very knowledgeable, but you know, but sometimes they use that intellect crudely. You know, it's even like in politics. You know, you see some crude political arithmetic
Yes.
on the way.
Yes.
You know, that they just do the things the other way. You know,
It's
it's
what
funny.
is happening here. I agree with you.
So
I
that,
agree
so,
with
so
you.
that is this is things that in other climes there is for granted. In fact, we watch even in Ghana election.
Yeah.
You find where the army, the police could not go close to where they are doing the election. And you see, even the citizens could challenge them and say, no, you can't cross this place, and obey the law. But on our own, you challenge an army man?
They are above the law.
It's an invitation to death. No, usually, or a policeman. You know, he's the man that will first tell you, is it you that is teaching me on how to do this job? So it's a very big problem.
But
But the issue is that, do we need a tax reform in Nigeria? Yes. We do. We do. But I think they have to make it, like as I said, for me, democracy is robust when you make more consultations.
Exactly, consultations. We'll come back after a short break so that we'll now begin to rub it in. And of course, look at this issue of consultation that our guests have brought about. Is government consulting, or they just think they will roughshod over the people, bring out something, figures and so on, the percentage that people will pay without the input of the people, careless if the burden is heavy, and those who ought to take the burden, and all those who ought not to take the burden of this tax policy. All these are issues we look at in the second leg of this discussion. Don't go away, we'll soon be back. Tell your people, just as I said earlier, that Voters Forum is here on ground Liba. And what do? We want to educate you on your civic and political rights. I want you to be informed. And of course, we too want you to join the conversation on social media. Just go to during this short break, you can go to social media, either Facebook, X, or Instagram, or whatever, any platform that you have, and join the conversation. Of course, the topic is the politics of tax reform. Don't go away, we'll soon be back.
Politics of tax reforms in Nigeria presents an opportunity for significant progress as it encompasses a complex and multidimensional landscape. Currently, the tax system heavily relies on oil revenue, features intricate taxation laws, and includes a substantial informal sector. One of the key challenges faced is the presence of multiple taxes and levies imposed by various levels of government, which complicates compliance for businesses and citizens alike. Our taxation laws have often been regarded as inequitable, disproportionately affecting the poorer segments of society, with only about 13% of adults currently paying income tax. In response to these challenges, many states have enacted the Consolidated Revenue Code (CRC) aimed at simplifying and consolidating tax laws. This initiative introduces new withholding tax regulations designed to enhance tax compliance, showcasing a proactive approach towards improvement. The government has also introduced generous tax reliefs and allowances for individuals and businesses, which reflects a commitment to easing the financial burdens faced by many. Moving forward, comprehensive tax reforms are essential to fostering equity, simplicity and fairness within the tax system. By broadening the tax base and decreasing reliance on oil revenue, we can create a more resilient economic framework. Additionally, consolidating and simplifying tax laws will help reduce compliance costs, while strengthening tax administration will minimize evasion and improve revenue collection. Nigeria stands at a pivotal moment, on the brink of transitioning from an outdated tax regime to a more progressive framework that centers around the needs of its businesses and citizens. This transition has generated vigorous discussions within the National Economic Council (NEC) National Assembly, highlighting the vibrancy of our democratic process. The intensity of these debates reflects a collective commitment among political actors to build a stable and robust economy that can withstand external shocks while ensuring effective governance for all. Understanding the tax proposal through the lens of our nation's socio-economic and political context is crucial. Nigeria, as a 64-year-old federation, has been largely reliant on petroleum-related revenue, which has limited the growth of other sectors. Despite its wealth in oil, Nigeria has faced economic challenges since the military takeover in January 1966, as highlighted by reports from the National Bureau of Statistics. Factors such as the 33.88% inflation, climbing exchange rates, a low economic growth rate, a 63% multidimensional poverty index, and a declining investment inflow reflects the pressing need for reform. Moreover, our tax revenue as a percentage of gross domestic product slipped to 9.4% in 2023, with a concerning debt-to-revenue ratio of 97% at the start of the current administration. However, it is encouraging to note that this ratio has significantly improved to 65% in the last 18 months, indicating positive momentum forward. Together, by embracing these discussions and implementing thoughtful reforms, we have the potential to create a tax system that enhances equity, drives sustainable growth, and ultimately benefits all Nigerians.
These bills aim to simplify the tax landscape, reduce the burden on small business, and streamline how taxes are collected. In broad terms, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the four bills seek to ensure uniformity in tax revenue administration in Nigeria.
What they are telling us is that they want this new regime to bring about uniformity. They want it to benefit all Nigerians, irrespective of which side they are, either the rich or the poor. And that's what we all want, so that everybody will benefit. Some of us we have the opportunity of traveling out of this country, and we know that the tax system out there too is a way of taking from the rich to helping the poor, putting it in the pocket of the government to now use it, take care of the people, so that they will have a good social infrastructure, they call it, wherein the poor is guaranteed of a meal, is guaranteed of house, and of course guaranteed of security cover, and some little amenities, health activities, and so on. Anyway, you welcome back. Did I remember to tell them to welcome them? You are welcome back at home, Jerry. Don't mind me. I just got carried away. Don't mind me. So, my brother, these issues are what really makes the tax system strong in those climes outside
Exactly.
this country.
Exactly.
Because the people, the little they have, they ensure they put it inside the general, like my daughter
general
would say,
purse.
the general purse is a polo, everybody drops it inside, and you know that when it's time and they to be removed, you will now get each for your own benefit, not that to the detriment of some people and for your benefit alone. So is it possible we make it work in this country that the tax system will be able to take care of housing for us, irrespective of the fact that you are a child of a pauper or a child of a millionaire, you must have house. You must, I mean, in some countries, even in some African countries, as soon as you are 18, you are entitled to all these social amenities.
Well, you know, what can work in another clime? There's nothing that is bad in replicating it here. So far, it's a human effort. Of course, this one is a tax system. We may have a little adjustment, at least maybe to adjust it, you know, to our own local, to adjust it to our system. Of course, it can work. But what, like as you have also observed, we're also talking about the sincerity of the leadership. You know, somebody said leadership is the capacity, you know, to see a problem before it becomes an emergency. You know, what type of leaders do you have? What type of vision do they have? You know, what type of mindset do they have? There are some of them, as we have seen them, some of them are a little bit selfish, I'm sorry to say. Some of them are a little bit sectional. And when you are talking of these tax issues, you know, it will come with equity. Okay, let's even start from the Nigerian Federation. Can we, in all sincerity, say that we are practicing true federalism? No. We are practicing more of a quasi, you know, federalism.
Yes.
You know, you find out by the time you look at the Nigerian federal structure, you find out there is no equity.
Sorry, Oga. You know, my people, not us, our babies, my big grammar. What's the meaning of quasi?
Quasi is which means it is not true federalism. you know, it's more of you are removing. You know, it's like saying if it is not federalism, it is not federalism. You know, quasi.
We are still going deep. It's all right, I'll help you. A quasi is just a fake arrangement.
Of course.
So making it make believe
exactly
that
look
it is so
federalism,
but no be so.
Exactly.
They do cover up. It's all right.
Well, you have to help me out there. You know, of course, you know you are a lawyer. I just studied political science, and I find myself in journalism. So that's your. But the issue is that when we look at this make-believe Nigerian system, you know, you find out that we are talking of, when you are talking of in a true federalism, you are talking of equity. You know, you are looking at the population. There are a lot of indices that you are looking at. You will now begin to ask yourself, okay, Nigeria, are we even equitable? Let's even look at from the creation of states. You go to the southeast, you see 5 states. You come to the southwest, you get 6. You go to some places in the north, you get 7 states. You find that there is this disequilibrium. So it is a problem. It's like what we are, even like this tax issue we are trying to harness now. You see some people that are putting in less. Getting more from the system. So unless there is, you know, they make it the equity. You know, unless there is justice. There will always be a problem. Look at, okay, let's leave it to God. Look at Lagos, for instance. Look at the population of Lagos. There's more than 20 million. You can know people that is coming into Lagos every day. You can know that a lot of infrastructure should be on the ground and that the government is trying. And upon all the whole population, we are having 20 local governments in Lagos State. And a place like Kano is having 40 local governments. You know, so you find out that there's always this disequilibrium, there's this inequality. And unless you address most of these issues, there's a problem.
Sorry, as you just spoke about Kano now, my mind went to Jigawa. My mind went to Katsina. And I don't know, maybe you've been to Central Lagos. There's this project now that the government, I'm not talking for government, I'm just talking in reality. This mass children's hospital.
Okay, I've seen it too. I've seen it very massive. Yes. If you are going to Lagos, by the right, massive. After Tedelam Bridge.
Are we to talk about the blue and the red rail lines? Are we going to talk about the various infrastructure that the government of Lagos State is building? Obviously, they get this, they fund this from the taxes.
Exactly.
that they get, the little that comes into them,
Yeah.
despite the millions that they generate into the federation account.
And
Then
what,
I will-
and what let
I've
me
been
cut
to-
you,
yes.
you know, Lagos State government has, you know, automated their system
Yes.
that they can track a lot of funds.
Yeah.
You know, unlike some other states.
Yes.
Where they stay carry. The last time I went to the hospital, the Ikorodu hospital, every money you pay is tracked. You pay with the system. You do. In fact, everything you are given a card, everything is tracked. So what I'm saying, even if there will be, you know, some little leakages, you can be able to monitor 90-95%. But in the situation, there are some situations where the government doesn't even get even 40% of the revenue that is on the ground.
That's the problem.
It's
That's
a
what we are
big problem.
doing. That's why we are doing.
You mentioned of the. I have been in fact the first time I was in Meduguri was around 1983. The first time I was in Meduguri, but my brother then was the NITE manager, NITE personnel manager, Mr. Johnson Kano.
Okay. Those getting fund.
Yes, that time. And if you know, you go there, just like what we are saying, you go there, you see a land mass. If you are traveling, you see a land mass. You just see some people, you know, collection of some people. And at the end of the day, you find out a place like Borno State getting more local government, more than some other places.
And revenue from the
And
federation account.
and it's a problem. These are some certain issues that, and you know, they have done this equality and projected into this. It's an injustice that have been projected into the system. And they've made in such a way that sometimes you find it difficult to change it.
Yes.
If the North doesn't agree, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So there is a problem.
Yes.
Unless, and that's why sometimes when we do talk of all these politics of restructuring, trying a way to restructure Nigeria, you know, it can be, these are the issues that you must address. And if you don't address this issue, we're going to have a problem.
These are issues that we must address. Yeah. And if we don't address them, we'll continue to have these problems.
Exactly.
Why will we have these problems? Because you do not allow, and the issue is not being put on the table for genuine discussion. Most of the time it is placed on the board of politics, sometimes on the table of sentiment, sometimes even issue of religion, and it won't go too far. I hope some of us, when we maybe, if there is an opportunity, I said I'll put this on Facebook for people to see. If there is an opportunity for a playback, of course, you'll see that the various debates in the National Assembly goes along religious, the tribal lines, as it were.
Exactly.
You see someone like the Seriaka Dix, is this Seriaka? Yeah,
Dixon
Seriaka
from
Dixon,
Bayelsa.
the former Bayelsa governor there, the way he was talking that yes, because they got oil from their place and so on and so forth. The one northern senator too was talking.
Ndume was also talking about
his own that the north and so on. So you see this discussion. Rather that one would like us to have a genuine discussion about nationalistic in outlook. And again, I'll throw this to members of the National Assembly too. And maybe that's why I can't remember the name of their spokesperson. We'll get across to that one too, so that he too will come and address Nigerians on why they must have a common front and inform us and advise us and let us know what they are going to do, so that maybe they'll do it like when we are having the third term agenda issue. You know, eventually God just gave it put it in the brain of Wabara, and they just decided to do it, make a public show of it, to the extent that everybody was debating, and of course one way or the other got to the good point. Maybe that's what should be done too concerning this issue. I'll talk to my friend who is a legal advisor to the Senate President too, because you have to get this thing done and settled once and for all. Thank you. I really appreciate this your idea. We must do it dispassionately, so that people will see the benefit of it. If people outside this in other climes enjoy taxation, the benefit of taxation, why wouldn't we enjoy? Because my pain again is that some people take that much, billions of naira, and it goes to nowhere. You don't see any development in the place. You don't see anything. The people are still hungry. The people are in penury, and yet their governors take a whole lot.
Exactly.
And I won't be far. The other day we were in Kaduna. We went to, I like eating, and because I'm a local man, I just want to relate with it. I go to the restaurants, but sometimes I'll just want to go to the
local buka.
To the local buka. And I'm sure someone from Kaduna is listening and watching that. Of course, I can be. All of a sudden, before I even finish my food, one boy just came and dragged it from my front. Of course, they call them the Almaji.
Yeah, they're hungry now.
So, and I don't know how and why it's difficult to stop that policy. Put them in school and educate them so that they will be better for themselves, the system, and of course everyone.
Exactly.
Because education is very, very important, and I don't see why money should not be given to seeing how they can work it out, that nobody should be on the street begging. You see these boys, 12, 13, 14, sometimes 18. They have a bowl on their hands and they are going around. This should be stopped.
When I was in Maiduguri, very early, as at 4:30 in the morning, they'll be shouting, going to beg. It's very pathetic. And when we know, and these are politicians, most of them we are brought abroad. Some of them studied abroad. Some of them grew up abroad.
Yes.
And they know that education is the greatest legacy they can give. And go back to even to the north and look at even the Nomadic school, the Almaji school that Jonathan built. Most of them, nobody is there again. Nobody. So there's a very big, I don't know if it's an agenda. It's very sad. I don't know if it's an agenda.
We'll look at that. We'll look at that agenda sometime in the next future. We want to see how we can wrap up this tax policy, because I can assure you, and I can assure all Nigerians and all these policy holders and policy makers and the politicians too, that if we don't get it right through our tax regime, then definitely it won't augur well for us as a people. We are just suffering in the midst of plenty. You agree with me, my brother? The millions of naira that goes through the drain in this country.
It's much. It's like it's just like we were saying, the government will be telling you to tighten your belt. Let's tighten our belt. No, you'll be tightening your belt. They are not fair.
And they are getting fatter.
Let me shock you.
I don't like that argument of yours.
No, they say tighten your belt.
And they are getting fatter.
While I had an opportunity, let me just share, I had an opportunity of, getting close to one government house. I have a friend that is, related to a governor. I just went to the government house. I will just say, Mr. Kanu, what will you eat? What will you eat? I say, by the time I will even say, he was asking me, are you going to eat gare, or is it fufu, or is it semovita? All the things. I said, okay, give me a gare as a local boy. He was asking me which soup. Even when I said, is it vegetable? He said they have more than 10 soup. Even when I said, okay, give me a goosey soup, he was asking me which meat do I want? Is it goat meat? I was shocked. I was just looking. Even when I say, do I want fish? Do I want cow meat? Then there is so much.
Living extravagantly.
So it's in fact, when I left the place, I was wondering, is this still part of this Nigeria that I am? It's really very pathetic. Some people that are privileged to have some certain opportunities, you see them abusing it. They don't have empathy for the people.
It's the Manor Farm that is here. I'm sure you read Manor Farm.
Yeah, I did.
David. Old Major is the name of that character there. And of course the slogan is all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
But the ones that are more equal should also protect the ones.
That's where I'm going now. In closing, you those who have the opportunity of holding the reins of government, being in government house and taking advantage of the government and the money in government, the tax system that brings money into the system, instead of bringing it and using it for the betterment of everybody, you're using it to your own benefit. We have to sit down and look at all these things. It's not fair you to know. It's not fair. Look at the millions of naira that you're taking, raking, and we are talking about minimum national wage, and you are kicking against it, and of course making life difficult for people. All these are things that we have to sit and look about, because if the poor are not happy, the rich cannot sleep.
There can be safety for them.
That will be something to chew till next week. Till I come your way again, I really want to thank our guest. You're really giving me a not only me, all of us who are watching.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Wale.
know that people will begin to get across to me, so that again, your own discourse is something that will now turn into a mini working paper. I really want to thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
for
it.
coming.
Thank
It's
you,
a great
viewers.
time
Thank
to
you.
be
Thank
with
you.
And
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm Wale Ogwande, your host on this program. By the grace of God, we'll do it again next week. But till then, don't be on the other side of the law. Just think about how Nigeria will be better. Nigeria is a great country. I've crisscrossed Nigeria and I've gone around some parts of this world. And I know there is no country like Nigeria. I can say that with all sense of confidence and authority. There is no country like Nigeria. The 774 local governments in this country, there is no local government that does not have 1 mineral
Something
resources.
to produce.
All we need to do is to harness them and use it for the betterment of all of us. I'll leave you with those words. All the best.
Do you know that success is not earned in the future? It is earned now.